Welcome to the presentation today. This is Syncing Pipe Networks with Excel for Easy Storm Water Analyses. My name is Brian Lewandowski. I'm the Civil Product Manager here at CTC. I'll be walking you through the presentation and answering any questions you might have today. So what is stormwater modeling like in Civil 3D today? What options? There's a number of them. I'm going to mention a few. Under the Autodesk portfolio, there's storm and sanitary analysis. There's hydroflow storm sewers. Recently, the Innovise info drainage package was acquired by Autodesk. HydroCAD has been around for a long time, and a number of other ones out there as well. And what a lot of people are after, though, from what I've learned, is something simple. Storm and sanitary analysis is big, robust software, but sometimes we're after a simple analysis of our design, and we just want to do that in Excel. And so I want to show you a very simple process where we can utilize one of the CTC pipe tools, one of the new tools that came out just a few months ago. We're already wanting to do a lot of our analyses right in Excel. Yet the passing of information both from Civil 3D to Excel and from Excel back to our drawing can be a little clumsy. Not to mention, could just be an outright manual process. So I want to show you how we can take your pipe networks in Civil 3D, build out custom exports in a pipe planner tool, write them out to our custom spreadsheet, run our analysis, changing things like pipe sizes and so forth to meet our required flows, and then simply syncing that back to Civil 3D. It's a simple process, and I'll show you it today. And finally, I'll show you how to also save out basically what is a template of your export configuration, because all of you have different clients, you have perhaps different spreadsheets you use, and so you need to be able to customize what that export looks like. The Pipe Planner tool I'm going to show you allows full customization on what that export is, in terms of the column order, the sorting order, and you name it. Then you can save that out to a Pipe Planner template to be reused in other projects and drawings down the road. So let's jump into Civil 3D, take a look at this. What I've got here is a drawing with a sample pipe network in it here. And what I'm going to do is take this one pipe run, load it in a Pipe Planner, go out to Excel with it, run my analysis, make a few adjustments, and show you how when we sync those changes back, it'll update things like pipe size, invert, whatever it is we might change in Excel can sync back and update in the drawing. Here's that same pipe network in profile view. All right. I'm going to be leveraging what is a tool called Pipe Planner. Like I said, we just released this a couple months ago. I've done one or two webcasts on this. I've just been highlighting a variety of the different use cases for this tool. It's part of the Sim Project Suite, though, which is our flagship Civil 3D tool set that covers everything from corridors to grading to plan production to pipes. So Pipe Planner, if I run edit, export pipes, by the way, there's a second command here. This is when we're round tripping and coming from Excel back to Civil 3D. We'll use that one in a moment. But if I run edit, export pipe networks, what I get for starters, let me clear this out a little bit here. At the very top left of the screen, I get a network selection option. Okay, so this is finding all the pipe networks in my drawing. I can work with multiple networks at once or just one at a time. Once I choose the network, all the parts within it show up in this grid right here. Now I can look at them all at once, both pipes and structures, sorting them how I choose, or I can go to the Structures tab where I see only structures, or the Pipes tab where I see just pipes. Now this middle grid is where I'm going to choose what information I'm going to export. Now the default header in here is just the ID, that's the handle ID. but I can put simple parameters in here like name and description. Okay. This is actually an editable table in here. This behaves like Excel. So I could like go ahead and change the size of the pipe right here. If I apply that, it'll swap my part in the drawing, change it, and we're on our way. I can be sorting in here like this. I can rename pipes and structures in this way. So there's many, many use cases for it, okay? Now what we're after is building a set of parameters that we can pull from our parts, export to Excel, run our analysis, and sync it back, okay? Now it's not just pipe data we're after because we've got runoff data in here as well. I've got catchments created, or I've got, and they're assigned to a structure here. So if I look at the structure properties and connections, we'll see I've got a catchment assigned with a total area and a time of concentration and runoff coefficient. Okay, all that information needs to come with me into Excel to design my pipes. So I've got just a preliminary sizing of pipes in here, and we're going to take that out to Civil 3D. So let's go back to Excel. Let's go back to Pipe Planner. Now you notice it remembers what we did there. So it's going to remember that per drawing. So if you're jumping in different drawings, it's going to remember the state you left this in. Now, here's an example of my Excel analysis sheet. And there's a number of properties I want. Now, the way I recommend doing this, and you can do it a lot of different ways, but I have an analysis tab in here, and then I have a pipes and a structures tab where I'm going to dump my raw data from Civil 3D. And then when we get that in here, I'll show you a couple little tips that I might use, though I'm sure a lot of you guys are better at Excel than me, of how we kind of pull that raw data into here, just using some simple formulas or lookup options, resize our pipes, and then sync it back, okay? So what we're after though is the starting structure, the ending structure. Basically these highlighted red ones are what we need to pull from Civil 3D. So if I come up here, the pipe structures I need, or excuse me, the pipe values I need are start and end structure. I use a little arrow here that adds it to the left side there. If the order is wrong, you can just double click the headers and we'll sort it accordingly. What else do we need in here? We want the length, and some of these are structure properties, but we also want the grade and the pipe diameter. Now, there's a lot of properties in your pipes and structures, so we put a little filter option up here where if you just start typing, it's going to give you the parameter that you're after. I can add that right in there. If you added it in the wrong order or you didn't want that property, you can simply click remove or use the left and right arrows here. We're after length, so I grab the 2D length, maybe the diameter next. Okay. And like I said, once it's in here, you can be inserting, moving things left to right. You can in fact put empty columns in here. So what I'm going to show you is an export where we write to a separate tab, but we could also be writing right into this table here where we populate these fields like this. I find it a little easier to kind of have your raw data tabs and then where you run your analysis, make decisions and changes on pipe size and so forth, and then sync that back. Now we also need some structure information. It's basically that catchment information that is the end structure, right? We want that kind of information. Now that property is stored in structures. It's not in the pipe, so we can't access it here. But we can certainly grab all of our structures. Let's add those as part of the export. And then if I look over here, I clear out the filter. All the properties that now show up here are relevant to structures only. And of course, what do we want? We want to make sure we get our time of concentration, our area, runoff coefficient, And one of the things we have in here is the ability to read catchments. Now, you don't have to use Civil 3D catchments. You can just type that into your Excel spreadsheet on your own. There's a lot of different options there. Maybe you have custom properties in your parts. Pipe Planner will read those. A lot of different options. But basically, if the data is there in your structures and pipes, we can grab it and we can write it out to Excel. Okay. Now the precision that is showing up in our drawings here, it's based on the values that it finds in the parts themselves, but like the area, you know, it's not exactly 0.897, for example. So that's based on precisions I have set here. And you can set it to just to drawing, and then it'll read what you have set in your drawing or have a manual override here. Okay, so I've got all my structure properties, my pipe properties. And from here, I just simply have to choose what spreadsheet we're going to write this out to. So I need to close down this because I can't write to it if I have it open. So down here, we can choose and browse out to that storm sheet. I can create new sheets or write to existing sheets. And I've got structures and pipes here. Now, if this is checked over here, structures and pipes on separate tabs, that's what I have set up in my sheet. But if you uncheck that, then it would write all parts to a single sheet. I'm going to turn that on and write my structures to the structures tab and pipes to the pipes tab. Now, that's just an empty sheet, okay? But I could choose my starting cell. If I pick the browse button, okay, I'd be able to choose in here. Now this is empty because that sheet is empty in Excel, but if I had headers in here, for example, I could make sure I chose, maybe it was A3 or something like that, where I want that data to be written to. In this case, I'm going to just take the headers that come right from Civil 3D and go right at the top left corner, but lots of options there. If you've seen Pipe Planner before today, you've seen some of the other workflows I've used it for, many different things. Pipe depth reports, manhole schedules, any kind of reporting you might need to do. It's a very, I want to call it open source. It's a very open platform tool. Choose your parts, choose your properties, assemble the table any way you want, and then do with that what you will, either editing those properties and writing back to the drawing by hitting the apply button or going out to Excel with it. All right, I think we're all set. We're going to export our pipes, our structures, all to that one sheet. I'm going to click the export button here. And it tells me it already exists, though I could have it create a brand new one if I wanted. But I've got a template set up. So yes, I want to override that sheet or write to that sheet rather. And just like that, we can see all that information right out to Excel. Okay. Now, what's the formatting? Okay, on these tabs, I don't really care about the formatting. It's just my raw data. But basically, whatever formatting you set in Excel, that's going to hold. So it's not like it creates a new tab. So whatever kind of standards you set up on your spreadsheet, the only thing that Pipe Planner is going to do is write the raw data to that, with the exception of if you tell it to write out the headers, it'll make those bold. So there's some minor items there. So we've got the data. Now if I go to the Analysis tab, I could copy and paste things, but what would be nice is just to be leveraging simple formulas. Now normally I have these set up already, but just to kind of show you what it might look like, I can just make some references to the other sheets. So I'm getting my from and to structures, my time of concentration. What I like to do here is if I take the to structure and look that up in the structure tab, I can grab that information. Now again, we could write this data right to this sheet from pipe planner. Okay, like I mentioned, I can insert empty columns in here, and when I do that, it's going to skip that column when I write that out to Excel. But like I said, we can also have it write to separate tabs and then have just a few formulas that reference this. So here, for example, we could use a lookup option where I look up that structure on the Structures tab, look it up by that name, and then return the time of concentration. Okay, just populate those formulas, simple as that. Okay, again, I'd have this just filled out, these formulas in place, so that when I dump data to these sheets, these values would just fill out for me. Do that again for the area, look up this structure, look up that column, and return I think I did that right. I missed something there. Anyway, you get the idea there. Using lookup formulas, pulling that information in, I can pull the runoff coefficient in, pipe grade. Looks like I missed that one here. That would have been back here where we choose the slope. Okay. And actually, let's do this. Let's move this in the order we want it. I wanted it right there, second from last. And just to kind of show you how kind of quick and easy this is, I'm just going to save this here. I'm going to leave these sheets as is. Now I could clear it out, but let's save this, and instead, let's say I forgot something. I mean I did, right? Or maybe I exported not all the right parts or properties or something like that. Let's just save this and close out of it. Come back to Civil 3D. I've added the slope column. It's remembering all of my same export information, which tabs it's writing to. We're going to run export again. And now I've got my slope. And of course, I can pull that information as I was intending to in the first place. Okay, so basically nearly the state I have this in right now is how you're going to leave your spreadsheet, and then dump the information in either directly to this tab or on separate tabs like this. Calculate your velocities, your flows, and so forth. Okay, and then we're simply changing sizes or inverts. Perhaps some of this can be a bit smaller. These were 24 inches, 36. Now, this is kind of what I like to do, is to make my changes here, be very deliberate about it, and drop those values right here. And now I know I've changed those, they're updated. Now you could use some formulas to kind of have it update however you want. Now, how Pipe Planner works is it's based on the description column. What is based on the description column? When we sync this stuff back, it's going to change the pipe size, not based on inner pipe diameter. In fact, that's not an editable field in the part itself. The description field, however, is basically the part size name, or the name that we think of when we're doing things like swapping parts. So the description field is treated uniquely in Pipe Planner. When we come back and we import this, it's going to look at the description, and if the description changed, it will change the part, not just the description of the part, but it will do a swap part. So kind of the key link between automating the pipe size changes in here is to make sure the description has been updated in here. And I'm just doing this manually here, but however you want to do it, okay? Some formula trickery. So I've made some pipe size changes. Let's go ahead and save this. I don't need to close it, in fact, to import it back. I'm gonna hit OK to this. And I changed a variety of these, right? Let's see, here's the end of my line, 48-inch RCP, 248s. That's a 36 now. That should be I think a 24. Okay. Run the import spreadsheet command. Browse to your spreadsheet. There's really not much of a learning curve. It's just how you imagine it would work. And then what sheets are you reading? So we're not just dumping the whole sheet in here. What I'm after is pulling in the pipes, okay, and basically changing those pipe sizes. And it's going to flag the properties that changed. So I'm telling it to read just this tab. It's finding those properties based on the header. So there's a couple of requirements here, right? I can't just go and change this field to whatever I want it. It needs to stay as description, because when I go and try to import that, that gets matched up with the pipe properties themselves. That property name is description. So you've got to leave it that way. It's not really anything that's difficult to deal with. You export the headers from Civil 3D as they come, leave them as is, and then when you sync it back, that's basically how it's matching up. Now, how it knows what part, all along we've had the ID column here. That is the handle or the part ID that you don't normally see it in like daily kind of production use of Civil 3D, but every part in AutoCAD and Civil 3D has a handle to it, and it's a unique number that we can use to identify those parts. That's how we're able to basically change parts as we go back and forth from Excel to Civil 3D. Because let's face it, when it's in Excel, it's not a pipe, it's not a structure, it's just some data, right? So those are a couple of the key requirements to make this this work. Now, if something didn't look right, I can come back here, make changes, press the refresh button, and it'll rescan both the spreadsheet and the drawing itself and find what has changed. So we've got a number of these that have changed. So we should see this part change. This one should change as well. I'll click import, drawing updated successfully. That's a 24, that's a 36, okay? Really simple process. Take your pipe networks, go to Excel with them, run your analysis there. Even property changes, outright design changes in Excel. A lot of you are doing a ton of that there rather than in Civil 3D itself. So that tool makes it really easy. Finally, I had mentioned at the beginning the template options, right? You know, it might have seemed a little clumsy to you, like building out these, which columns am I using and what's the order and all that. I mentioned the template option. We can create a new template, and let's say this is storm analysis, okay? Now this saves out an external file. It's a universal JSON file, but we put a file extension of PP on it for Pipe Planner so that you can identify it. I save that out, it says template saved, and that shows up in my dropdown here. So I can create as many of these as I want. Maybe there's a different format analysis or storm analysis too. Okay. Those show up in this dropdown. Now those are external files based on a path that's set right in here, the options of the application. Okay, so you could put that on your server somewhere, at all your coworkers be able to look at that same set of storm analysis export templates. And if everyone's looking at that same set, they'll just show up in everyone's drop down here. And if we clear this out, let's go to the All tab here. Let's say we didn't have any properties or anything loaded. If we click load on this one here, it's going to populate everything. Now, a couple of key things to note. What templates save are, of course, the property information and the order it's saved in, but they also save the part IDs. And this allows you to not only transfer, you know, the set of properties in column order that you want, but if you're running the template in the exact same sheet, the exact same parts, it'll actually pull in the exact parts you used as well. So if I click load on this, it's going to pull in those exact properties for structures and for pipes that I specified and saved to that template. Now, if I did this in a different drawing, those IDs would be different. So it wouldn't populate the parts, but then you would just come over here, select your storm network for that drawing, for that project, add them all in there, and it would populate all the values for you. One thing you'll notice across all of our apps, there's a help button up here. This brings you to a detailed user guide. Not sure how Pipe Planner functions. You can jump to it here. It explains in detail how it behaves. Okay. We always have detailed video support for all of our applications. You click on that, it's going to bring you right to a playlist. Here's some recent videos and webcasts that we've done on Pipe Planner. And then if that doesn't help, you click the support button and it puts you right in contact with our support teams, populating what tool you're using, the version you're on, and so forth. Okay, so all of the tools are very well supported. So when you're in the middle of using this and maybe it's not quite working the way you were seeing as I was doing in the video here, or you just got another question for a different process you're trying to do, you can always get in touch with us. And then finally in the About menu, it always tells you the version you're on. You can access the latest version right here. And we're updating our tools on, probably every 2 months or so, more than a quarterly basis. So always new tools, new features coming out. So always be on top of that. You simply grab the new installer, run it, and it will pull the old version off, put the new ones on. So that's a lot of what I want to show you guys today, just a quick webcast. If you're wondering how to get Pipe Planner, it's part of the Sim Project suite. That is the suite of tools I was pulling from up here. It's one license, it's one package, it's one installation. It comes with free tools, some of the light colored buttons here, and then the dark ones are free with a trial and then come with either standalone or network licensing after the fact. You can go to CTC Software for that free trial and purchase options. Like I said, multiple licensing options. And once you get that in your hands and you start using it, there's detailed support and help libraries to help you guys on your way. With that, thanks everyone for your time. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.